Introducing Tony and Other People, a podcast. Here's your host, Tony Levesque.
Molly Russell Shew. That's how it is on Facebook.
Yeah.
What do you go by normally?
Molly.
Molly. No last name. Just like Beyonce.
It's like I've been called many things, so
Yeah,
Molly works.
Join the club. That's a pretty clean thing to be called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, you being a Beatles fan. Oh, wait, is Tony Levesque a Beatles fan?
I got a Beatles shirt on right now.
People might know that about you at this point. I was named after Beatles song. Could you take a wild stab at it?
That would be Obla Dee Obla Da.
Yes. Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, tattooed on my wrist.
Awesome. That's a great song.
Yeah, my parents, they didn't know what to name me. They wanted to name me an Irish name, and they were Beatles fans. So it happened to be one of those things. But it was 1974, and saying Molly Joan instead of Molly Jones turned out to be that they spelled it at the hospital Joan, J-O-A-N, and they didn't speak up. But they raised me that, hey, you were named after this and everything.
That's
I
cool.
eventually got it changed legally.
Your middle name?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
To Jones?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jones with an S?
Yeah. They
That's
said,
awesome.
hey, let's get that done,
Why not?
because I always felt like the nurse just didn't get that right. We should have spoke up, but they just weren't the type to speak up at the time.
Different time.
So it was. It was a different time.
I don't remember the 70s.
No, because
I wasn't around for it.
Because you are how old?
I am 36.
36. And I am 44. And so you lived just up the hill from me.
Right.
Right.
Walker Road was
On Walker Road.
was the only road in between, right?
Yeah, because you're like a Hell's Kitchen type.
Yep.
And I'm the Kelpytown girl.
My dad used to always say we live in downtown Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And my
Which
dad
is-
just said, we're from Kelpytown.
Kelpytown, right?
Yeah, because he would say this phrase his grandfather said from Port Leyden, which is everyone from Port Leyden either has been in jail or belongs in jail. Which, hey,
Isn't that weird how Port Leyden gets such a
bad
rap?
Such bad. But it did even then for
But
his
growing
grandfather.
up there, you're allowed to
Yeah.
talk about it and to say that because we grew up there.
Yeah.
I always told people I was from Lions Falls because
Yeah.
we were just a hair closer and
Right. We could get away with it.
yeah,
Because
not
right.
like Lions Falls was any better than Port Leyden.
No.
I mean, all small towns are
or
the same
any of
and
the
they have their
small
thing.
towns, but
Yep.
I get a kick out of that, but
I really liked Port Leyden
I
as a
did too.
child. We used to ride our bikes down
Yeah.
there, go to the pool, Hoyg's candy store.
it was thriving,
The little mobile station.
It was. We had the remember the candy they had in Hoygs?
The
Where
penny
you
candy
could get the
and
penny.
the nickel.
Yeah, it was a
I
good
don't think
time.
that exists anymore.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. They're looking to get
That's
some
what's
businesses
wrong
in
with the
there.
world.
Really,
Candy's not cheap.
Candy is not
People get upset.
cheap.
Things happen.
Yeah, and it's caused a huge ruckus.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the Port Leyden theory.
we just figured it out. Yeah,
We're saving
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
Not even 5 minutes into this.
yeah, that's true.
So I've known you a little bit for probably more than a decade, I'd say. Well, you used to come into the library where my mom worked. So you two know each other.
I met your mother. She was my librarian after moving back from California. And I really enjoyed your mother. So I used to hear about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My mom likes to talk about us kids a lot.
Yeah. She's proud of you.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know how,
great.
but she is.
So, yeah, I was just kind of the, strange character that came in a lot and used the computers back then. You know?
There were way stranger characters than you. that used to go in there a lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was in Port Leyden.
It was in Port Leyden, and
Bringing this back.
that's when you could get like the dial-up AOL.
Yeah.
And so like
You had to
AOL
use the one
dial-up.
computer that had the internet on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would go in and chat with your mom, and yeah, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Port Leyden fun
Yeah.
for me. So yeah, so I would hear about you, and so I actually think I knew your mom before I met you playing with my brother.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that was... I don't even know now how long ago that was.
I'm not sure when you guys formed a band, but I'm pretty sure that I was going to the library before then.
I miss your brother.
I do too.
We had a falling out, and I was to blame for that. I don't know if I ever told him that. It was just a bad time, but I had a lot of fun times with your brother. Too much fun at times.
Me too. I haven't seen my brother in 10 years.
Really? Okay.
So,
I always liked your dad too.
my dad, yeah,
music man.
he
Probably the only one that knows more about the Beatles than I do.
He loves you because of the Beatle connection, for sure. Yeah.
Well, anyone that likes the Beatles is okay in my book.
Yeah, and he is a plethora of the Beatle knowledge like you are, and that's uncommon for him to find someone with that same.
That cat wants in here.
I see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bugs me every episode. He just wants to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Not happening, Jasper.
So, the band, you guys played at the reunion, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty cool. Because you guys kind of covered everything that I grew up listening to, which was neat. We haven't had one of those reunions, but we're going to this year.
Cool.
So, minus your band.
Yeah.
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 Which won't be the same. But
We
hey.
only played out a few times, and it was mostly parties. I really enjoy what we did, especially the music selections, but I used to drink way too much, and it doesn't help.
Yeah.
You think it does when you're in the situation. You're
Sure.
like, oh, I sound so good.
Sure.
No, I don't. And my brother was really young. He must have been.
Your brother was very young,
I bet he was 15.
but talented.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
always been. Anything he
Just
touches
naturally
just turns
talented.
to gold. Yeah.
Eddie was like that, just very naturally talented. And, anything from a very young age, any instrument he picked up, he could just start playing. And, for me, it was the exact opposite. And, which is, just kind of comical because, we had a lot. When we were younger, we had a lot of fun, but it would be like, shut up. You're trying to sing lead and backup. The sibling thing,
Yeah.
it's like, you don't do both, and things like that, just really fun memories of that kind of stuff.
So did you grow up right there in Kelpytown?
We grew up initially on Markham Street in Lyons Falls.
Okay.
And then
So you're from Lyons Falls.
yeah.
You're not a true Port Leyden.
Well, we moved
person.
young, but yeah, we went to Lyons Falls School until they closed. So 1 year into
Oh, that's cool.
into Lyons Falls School.
That's such a shame about that building, just sitting there.
Is that not a shame?
It
It's
is.
a complete shame.
It's a gorgeous building.
I know.
Been there a long time.
I know.
Right in the center of town. It could be so many things.
It
So many
could
other
be.
things.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a great place for young people.
And who knows the red tape that's behind that.
True.
So we can have all the ideas we want.
Speculate and
Yeah.
something I try not to do with most anything anymore. And so yeah, we've went to Kelpytown, and that's that. And my parents are still there at the Ponderosa.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right across from, kitty corner from Marty's Shew.
mm-hmm.
We grew up with the Shews.
Yeah.
My dad grew up with Marty I believe he grew up with it. I think they spent some teenage years raising hell together.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few three-wheelers and dirt bikes. And
Yeah, they're all
such.
good people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then you got the trailer park right there.
A lot of interesting stories generate from there, you know?
I've heard that trailer park's name on the scanner so many times.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Growing up, though, I used to think, hey, one could write a book about, short stories,
Yeah.
that you hear from there. So,
I'd like to think that it's every small town, but
yeah,
Port Leyden is a little special
it's a special place.
in its own way.
It is.
I always had this theory: there's either the worst of the worst or the best of the best that live in Port Leyden, because it seems like I had some great friends that,
Yeah.
and their house was gorgeous,
Yeah.
and then the people next door, you're like, what is this?
What's that all about? Yeah,
No, there are some really great people.
Really
and things
great
in
people.
Port Leyden.
it's true.
I love the bridge down there. I used to sit under that bridge and fish half the day. We used to go down by the old iron mill.
Yeah.
I don't think any part of them is there anymore. There's some rubble there now, but used to fish down there and take hikes behind the school.
There are a lot of people who are really trying to really renovate homes, and I'm very hopeful. I always see like the wedge of light, and say, I think we're gonna see it flourish again.
I hope
Maybe
so.
not to the point, of our youth, but I think we have a new mayor, and I think that there's a lot of people that really care about keeping the homes up. Or I'm definitely renovating a home and working on that, and I'm across from the backside of the school driveway, up on the hill.
Across the river. No.
I'm, where the
On Lincoln
driveway
Street?
parking lot is on East Main Street.
Okay.
So I'm across from where you go
okay.
into the driveway, and the buses pull in.
I know the Canans. that
Okay,
live on
so
the
I'm
corner.
across from Mike and Agnes.
Mike and Agnes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
I spent a few years of my youth there
yeah.
with Bob and well, it was just Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good people. And so it's a great house. When I was in, used to play in the over across the road as a kid, I used to look at the house and say, I'm going to live there someday.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's, nobody lived there for, we're talking like a decade. So it really needed
some
to be
work, huh?
gutted and stuff. But when it was going for sale, it was like, hop on it, I'm getting this house and going to make it happen. And so it's been fun.
Yeah.
With getting a house, it takes, it's
yeah.
brick by brick.
Yeah.
You just can't do everything you want to do overnight.
Well, we bought this place around 2 years ago, and it was ready to go.
Yeah.
But the longer you live in a place, you're like, oh, I need to do that. This needs to be fixed.
Got to update this.
Yeah, and you never want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. I can't speak
Yeah.
for you.
I do. To me, it's my canvas, I want to redo the canvas, and, But I see a lot of other people up near the cannon that are really doing a lot to their homes.
That is great. Mm-hmm. It's weird about those old towns like Port Leyden, Lions Falls, that are really old towns. When this area was first settled, they were the metropolis.
Yeah.
Because they had mills, it was near a waterfall or near some sort of running water, and towns developed around where Port Leyden was way bigger than Lowville at one time.
Right.
The whole place burned down, I'd say a couple times. The canal came through there.
Yeah.
It was a bustling place, and I think it was like that until, I don't know, probably the 80s, maybe 90s, because the Lions Falls mill went out of business.
Right.
And that really killed a lot of those
Yeah,
small towns. You see that all the time with the mills. Once they close down, the towns just kind of...
Yeah, the mills, really.
It was jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of people had a job there.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I worked at, and maybe you remember the Gould Mansion, when it was Lions Falls Historical Association had come in there. So
They were in the downstairs?
They were in the mansion across from the mill.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because it used to be the library. Oh, actually,
okay, it was right
think it
next
is.
door.
Okay, so the carriage house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I used to, when I was in the Boy Scouts, we had our meetings upstairs at the
Okay.
carriage house.
Yeah.
So I've been
And
in
so-
there a time or two.
Somebody now, I believe, lives in the Gould Mansion, but I used to give tours, and I got to work with the Judge George Davis, and he was the historian and had been a judge, and I learned so much about just Lewis County history. It was really just a great time to just learn. I just soaked it in, and just learning so much about when the paper mill was thriving. I mean, to even imagine that people would come from Africa
Yeah.
and come and stay at the company house. And, it just was like, just mind blowing taking in all the information and how far people would travel to go through the Gould Mansion, too, would be like, you came from Albany today? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me show you around, I mean, it was just a fascinating time. And, it was a great opportunity, for me. I really enjoyed that time.
This place has a really rich history. All of Lewis County, the surrounding areas, it wasn't settled like the rest of New York State was right off the bat. This was,
Yes.
well, settled, but not as thick as it is now. It was mostly woods, but the logging industry around here.
Logging and the log drive and all the men that were, lost their lives and stuff. Log camps and all that thing. And it's so fascinating. It really is.
And when you learn all that and people complain about their jobs now, it's like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
You got it rough.
100 years
Yeah.
ago, a little worse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all very fascinating. I think our area, when people, have a tendency to complain about our area, what I love is, and why I stay, is that I'm in a position where if I want to drive to Old Forge or the Adirondacks, boom, I
right
drive
there.
that way. I want to drive to Utica, and head down there to Varick Street or something. Boom, I drive there. If I want to head to Watertown. And every area you go is different. It's all different landscape. It's all different. You can be like anywhere, in a matter of time, and, other people that have moved away, they just don't have that versatile,
Right.
of just grabbing different landscape depending on which direction they drive,
And how cheap it is to live up here, how
Really?
easy it is to live up here.
It's true.
Minus the winter time, but
That's true. So my life right now is taking me in a direction where I have become a huge advocate for mental health awareness and, suicide prevention. And it's strange how we never end up where we're going to be,
Yeah.
I mean, here you are, doing the radio, and Dana, I've known, I'm going to say most of my life.
yeah, he's a couple years older than you.
Yeah. And so, through Eddie, I think Dana was in the tapestry of my background since I was very young. I talk about an inspirational person. I think we can all say Dana is Dana not just an inspirational person.
I agree.
He is, and I know you're very close. And but this, I guess, is just a little moment for me to say that there's not many people I can say for me would be like a brother that's not a brother. But Dana's one of those people that just I just always remember in my memory banks, and just really inspirational and just a all around great person. And so here you are, and I hate to say in Dana's shoes because I mean,
I hear it all the time.
And I'm not comparing. Nobody can compare apples to oranges, or
Nobody can compare to Dana.
No, and I'm not, and I wasn't suggesting that,
No,
Tony,
but I
in any
was.
way.
I
But
was.
So
I love Dana.
You find yourself in this position that Dana was in, right? And you probably wouldn't have guessed that,
Yeah. Oh,
a
never.
few years ago,
Yeah.
right? How long have you done this?
This 2 years. Just
Okay, so
about
2
exactly
years.
2 years. Yep.
So, and I'm ho-humming through life and find myself getting a call that something I posted saved a girl in college's life. She decided not to kill herself over something I posted.
That's amazing.
And yeah, and here I'm with someone that just thought social media, I mean, Facebook, everybody's so negative and judgmental and, easily offended. And I'm just being myself, I'm just being Molly, ho-humming through life. And I, it's one of those pivotal moments where I thought at the moment, is this a spam call? Who are you? Calling really. It's, one of those moments in life. It's like, wow. And it was legitimate. And they wanted me to see if I wanted to come and meet her. And I was thinking, how not qualified am I for this,
Right.
I mean, and then I kind of had that voice, say, wait a minute, I'm completely touched by this. And yeah, I'll come. I'm not going to play doctor,
Right.
but I'll come. Mm-hmm. And one thing led to another, and before you know it, I find myself, and I'm going to use the word sponsor, because I don't want everyone blowing up my page, okay? I don't like peer, because these aren't my peers. I mean, these aren't people my age. But I ended up finding myself in a situation with young people struggling with some of the things that I did. Mm-hmm. And so many of these things are just, I'm just, taking inventory of, what I'm hearing in common, and, we live in a world where it's just, I guess you take this in and you think, why is these things not addressed? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, why is this such a subject that still is taboo to discuss?
So much stigma around it.
The stigma is so there. And, these kids that should be going to college and focusing on career education and everything, but they're thrown right into, like all of us were thrown into a you go from being big, fish in a little pond, and then you're thrown out there, and there's so many pressures on you, expectations, I guess, and everything. And I found mostly that was the biggest challenge for them, that was a contributing factor to the depression, despair, mm-hmm. beyond sadness. And I've mentioned this to you as the depression. And it's really heartbreaking that this isn't being addressed earlier. I really just think that, and I heard your interview because I do listen to your interviews, or I've at least heard half of them. Okay. Cause I'm shoot from the hips here. I've heard half of them at least.
Me too.
And right. Cause you are paying attention.
Yeah,
and
kind
of. Is it Aaron who works with the young people?
Yep. Aaron Monnet.
Yes, and it's refreshing to hear that there is something going on with the kids in school. Because I keep thinking, why is there something not being done at a younger age? Mm-hmm. Let's teach some coping skills, some life skills, it's inevitable that we're all going to face some kind
Issues,
of
problems.
Yes.
Yeah, we all do.
Yes. So just knowing that should mean, that should be taught, or there should be something. This is what I tell myself.
Yeah.
There's they cover things in health. I get it.
Yeah.
I
I think it's so much tiptoeing around things because it is a sensitive issue.
It is a sensitive
and you
issue.
don't want to push people.
I get that.
And the problem with kids that age, there's so many chemicals going through their body. Their mind, their body is changing. On top of that is all the pressure from what are you going to do next in your life? You have to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life by 16, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for those chemicals to just, the tiniest imbalance could really cause some issues.
Yeah,
And
that makes
there's
sense.
so little too. I think schooling used to be a lot more hands-on, but I guess for good reasons. It's teachers have had to take a step back and let
Right.
now it seems like they want specialists to deal with stuff like that, which is good.
I think that's good in a lot of, and I do think, I agree with you. I think that's good in a lot of aspects.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've heard that young people are not always as open to a professional or a specialist,
Right.
as you say, as they are someone they feel can relate. Like anything.
Right.
Okay, like if you take your AA or anything, I mean, you get a sponsor up there and you get someone who's talking about, I've hit rock bottom.
Right. Somebody that's been
Boom,
there.
all of a sudden you feel like I can let my guard down.
Right.
This person's been there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just an example. But it's that having that, and I find that with myself. If I feel like I can talk to somebody who is not going to be as judgmental, who's not going to put me in a little cubby hole and label me, then I'm going to share. I'm going to be open. We're going to connect.
Right. It has to feel comfortable.
It's got to feel comfortable.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of that. And everybody must be, I just feel like you must be aware, everybody must be aware that suicide is on the rise.
Yeah.
It's always been there. I mean, but we hear about it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you really have to have your head in the sand to not hear about it. And so I just feel like by the time I'm talking to someone who is already graduated from high school and stuff and has contemplated these things, it's like, for me, it's like I can't put myself also in a vulnerable situation where it's draining on me.
Right.
I've also seen therapists where they need therapists. So,
Honestly, I think everyone could benefit from
everybody.
somebody to talk to.
I think
it doesn't have to
everybody.
be a psychiatrist,
Right.
but a counselor or somebody to confide in, things they can say to somebody that they know are never going anywhere.
Sure. Just
Sometimes
someone
it
completely
feels
neutral.
so much better to just get something off your chest and just, even
And
if it
just
doesn't
that-
go anywhere, just to
that
say it out loud.
Fresh perspective sometimes from someone who just doesn't know your scenario and all that, and just spilling it and just having someone say, have you ever thought of looking at it this way?
Right.
Is just,
Or
refreshing.
somebody to say, that's not crazy.
Right.
Because I think, especially with teenagers, I think a lot of them think their problems are unique to them.
Sure. Yes.
And for somebody to say, no, that's not crazy.
right.
It's okay to think that. Or, you're thinking this because of that. There's
There is so
much people could benefit from just by having a sit down talk with somebody and to realize they're not alone.
Yeah,
in
I
their,
agree
in
with
their
you.
thoughts or in the way they think.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the whole, kindness matters, really. I mean, should just be something just needs to be so widespread. So I just think a big kindness movement is what we need. I mean,
agree.
they always tossed around the term, random acts of kindness, and I think that started with the Grateful Dead, and not that I followed the Dead, but good for them because it just kind of started, and then it seems like you're seeing more of these posts, or I am. Maybe it's what we attract, but I'm seeing more of that, and I'm hoping that is the direction we're headed.
Yeah.
Where people are becoming more compassionate of others and more thoughtful, and thinking before they speak, or thinking before they just judge or any of those things, because I think that would just benefit everybody, in the long run,
And it's addictive too. When you do something nice for somebody, it makes you feel so good.
It does.
And then to continue
just a
doing
compliment, even, compliment makes the other person feel good, but it also makes you feel good, and so you can't lose there,
Yeah. I used to say on air, at least once a week, give a random compliment to somebody, because that compliment might be just enough for them to either change their day or even change their life.
It's
just
true.
Somebody saying, "Oh, I like your shirt," which is an empty compliment. You know what I mean?
No, but still.
It's just the most basic thing you could say. Oh, wow, you look nice today.
Yeah.
That could change somebody's whole perspective. And timing, one thing I've learned about life in general is timing is everything.
Timing, yes.
Your life can completely change just by timing being off in the slightest.
That's true.
And sometimes somebody needs that compliment, and you give that compliment, and you might never know the amount of changes in that life.
That's true.
But things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
So
yes, everything happens for a reason.
I wish people would be freer with compliments and just saying nice things. I love, one of my favorite things to do, and this is stupid. And it used to be everyone did this. You hold the door open. You see somebody coming in the store behind you, you just hold the door open. And I don't know how many times, even a week, that I'm right about to the door and somebody just walks in. Yeah. Or you hold the door open and they just walk straight past you. One of my favorite things to do is wait extra long for somebody.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's an elderly lady walking.
It's a big deal.
Just sit there and hold the door. What's it going to cost you? 10 seconds of your life.
Right.
To sit there and do that. And that...
It's huge.
Families struggling with a cart to get out of the store with 3 kids. Hold that door open.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything.
That's right.
A little bit of energy, a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And that makes their day that much better.
It's true.
I know so many people with kids that, are on the verge of just snapping.
Oh, yeah.
And
right.
that could be it. That could save their day.
Any of those things. The pay it forward, any of these things are just really huge, and the more you practice it, the more you find it becomes a lifestyle and
a habit.
And it does. It really is. It's habitual and it feels good. And, and it touches people. Before you know it, someone is complimenting you that they're noticing these changes in you. And there's no better compliment than that.
Right.
I mean, hearing that is like, wow, that is great. I mean, I was trying, but I mean, these little efforts pay off, so all that is very good stuff.
And all the ideology behind it, it doesn't have to be religious. Right. It doesn't have to be, you can be a good person no matter what religion you are, or if you don't believe in it at all.
For sure.
There's, it's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
I've been miserable before.
Yeah.
Going into the store, didn't want to go to the store, just in a horrible mood. Forced myself to give somebody a compliment, and it changed my mood. Yes. Giving somebody else a compliment changed my mood.
Yes.
All the better.
It's true. And forgiveness is going to be the last one I'm going to.
Yeah.
And you can't preach these things and not do them yourself. And so
Oh, you can.
you can.
There's
right.
no rules
There's
to this.
hypocrisy. I mean, everywhere. But I know my mother used to always say to me, "You forgive second to Christ." Like this was a bad thing, And yeah, guilty, I mean, I let everything go, just let everything go. But I still stick with that. Because I guess I've always felt like I've had so many people that have held on, to the grudge over something that, and let's face it, I went through some really dark times, and it's like, you're still hanging on to that 10 years ago kind of stuff, but some people will,
Yeah.
They'll nurture that grieving.
Themselves,
I know.
They're the only ones stressing about it.
Yeah. Well, no, for
You're not
years,
hurting that
I
other
would be
person
like,
by...
begging. And it seemed like I would beg people to forgive me. I really did go through this era of, geez, I mean, can you forgive me for that? And, I felt like I was putting so much energy out there. And then it was almost like one day I just woke up and went, wait a minute. Do I want to exert this much energy to beg someone for their forgiveness? Or do I just want to go, okay, how do I want to spend my energy?
Right.
Instead, I'm just going to be the forgiving example, And I think a lot of people, can take that and apply it. And I guess that's it. Take it, apply it, work with it. And when you do, you'll start to really notice that the people that start to come into your life, are just more like yourself and have that same energy. Or you'll find that people that thought you were mad at them for a reason will be like, oh, I saw her and she wasn't mad at me at all.
Yeah.
And I was standoffish because I thought, I did offend her and,
Yeah.
and Molly's not mad. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, Molly's not mad. It's okay. Pull in my driveway.
It's wasted energy.
It is such wasted energy. And, and it's the same thing with working, and talking with the kids at college is remember that parents are human. And this is a big thing I say to them because I have great parents. And I heard you talk about your parents, and I love to hear other people talk about their relationship with their parents in such a loving way because parents are human. And let's just remember that everybody is human. So with human comes human error, and we're all just human. So we're all just making the best of this. But with it is going to come a bundle of mistakes and poor judgment at times and all sorts of things. But we're all just human. And I say this to the young people: your parents want the best for you. Keep in mind they're human, And so, and it's amazing the look on their face when they go, yeah, they're human too.
It takes a long time in life for you to realize that.
It does. None of this came to me overnight, but I'm at a place where it's good now. It's like, wow, this is good, and this is a good place. And, it's not a place where I need the bunch of medicine to make me feel like, it's a place where you just feel like, you're accepting of things. Things happen. You're accepting of people, and and that's the way that it is. And yet you cannot change. You have to accept what you cannot change, and that's a hard lesson to learn. It is. But with age, those things happen.
Doesn't everything get better with age?
Everything really gets more dandy with age.
It seems like every year my understanding of life has gone up so much.
Yeah, it's true.
When you're in your 20s, you think you know everything.
Yeah.
18-year-olds, they know everything. And now I look back and say, oh, I was so dumb.
What a fool I was,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
bet this year alone, 2018, there's been at least 2, possibly 3 bridges that I burned in my life that I've repaired.
That is wonderful.
That's my goal now.
Yeah,
Is to,
me too.
You can't erase the past,
Yeah.
but you can, make it okay.
Yes.
You have to accept it for yourself. The other person has to accept.
That's just it. If you have the other side that doesn't want to work with you,
It's frustrating.
it's tough, but you just have to, I have like put the olive branch out there, to he's my only sibling. Like, I don't care what happened. I don't care who's wrong or right. I don't care, like any of those details become like, they're not even details anymore. It's almost like an illusion.
Yeah.
It's almost like I don't live in the past. Don't live in the past.
Yeah.
We live in the present.
Yeah.
You're my only sibling. Pull in the driveway today. I will greet you with a hug and we'll sing some Bob Marley, and it'll all be good, know? And I don't know if people fear taking that step, but I think more people just need to just take the step, and it's all good,
All people fear the same thing.
Yep.
Change.
And rejection. I've learned from others.
Part of change.
A lot of people, it's rejection is a big fear of people.
Change is a weird thing because we all do it at a different pace.
Yes.
So you might have changed, but the person that you have a problem with might not have.
Right.
And you want them to, but that's not on you.
Right.
You can't do anything about that.
And that's where the acceptance comes in, and you just have to
probably
accept
the
and move
toughest
on.
of the things we've talked about today.
Yes.
Is accepting that
Yeah.
not everyone is like you. Not everyone
That's
will
true.
make the right choices.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to make the right choices.
Yes, that's true. That is true. And sometimes people aren't in a position where they can. They don't feel like they can, whether it's other people, whether it's whatever it is. I'm very much intact with my individuality. I'm very authentically myself. So I'm a free thinker, whatever I...
Have you always accepted that, or has that taken a long time?
Well, no, I haven't always been that way.
Been comfortable with?
I've always had that side, but it used to be referred to as stubborn. And when I was called stubborn for being myself, of course, then you want to close back in.
Oh, that's a negative connotation.
Yes, right. So, and you do view it as criticism. And when you're being criticized by anyone, you think, oh, well then, that's not good about me. That's a bad, aspect of me. Take, for example, the forgiving second to Christ. Okay, so I spent a good time viewing that as not good. It's not a good quality. And then I had to just, come to terms with the fact that, no, I actually like that about me.
Right.
But it had to be, on my own timing. Like you said, timing is everything. And it had to be I had to be firm, and be firm about, hey, I like this about myself, so I'm going to be this way. Bitterness is another thing, that we have to kind of overcome. Anger, bitter, any of that kind of stuff that we carry on when we were younger. I say when we're younger. Some people never kind of get over that.
Right.
But, when I was younger.
Some people's younger is a different thing. They say, oh, well,
Right.
back when I was 60.
Yeah, right.
Back last year when I was 14.
Yeah, exactly. But I couldn't have my own children. The things that seemed normal for everybody else weren't normal for me. It was like, what is this? I'm robbed of this. I'm robbed of that. I'm robbed of the norms. And so when you start to put yourself, it's one thing to be labeled with things, but then when you start to put yourself in the cubby hole and go, well, I'm not normal because I didn't have the, 2.5 kids and the dog and the picket fence. I'm not normal. Then I'm putting myself in that. And once you free yourself of that, which is so liberating, and you go, all these, and these are things that probably people could listen to right now and go, I would never guess these things about her, because I really keep a very private life.
Not anymore.
Right. I'm out there now. I love live music. and yet I don't go see local live music. This has been another thing that has come into place. Like my cousin Lee was in a band
Yep.
with Whiskey Lane.
Yep.
I love my cousin Lee.
Yeah.
And he's great. But I never went to go see him. And, you know, I always had those someday, you know, but I don't go to the bars, and I don't go out to bars. And so
it's tough nowadays, especially if you're going to drink. I don't drink, and that's another a different thing. It sucks to sit there with a bunch of people drinking and having a good time. I mean, I can, but not for hours on end.
Right.
You know, I can go into a bar for an hour or two and have a good time, listen to music. Don't spend any money, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
It's different. Now, when I travel, though, this is where it would come in, the contradiction. All I do is take in live music.
Right.
And I take
like
in
local to where you're traveling?
wherever
or
I'm traveling at. I
not
travel.
like big bands or anything, but you go and see
No, I
local.
take in one local, but I'm taking in music from the time I get there. I mean, I'm most excited about that. From the time I get there, I am taking in local music. Boom, 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 boom.
Do you think that's because you're anonymous?
Yes.
You can walk into the place.
Nobody knows me.
You don't have to worry about anyone running into anyone you know.
Well,
you can be
it's
comfortable.
also-
You can be the new you. The people
can be
in
me.
there have never seen before.
I can be me.
You can be whoever you want to be.
I love that. I do love that. And that's part of the reason why I love to travel, period. Well, and I love seeing new things, and, you know, the whole enigma of all of it, you know, is just fascinating. It's a thrill, you know. I'm not going to lie about that. I do love that nobody knows who I am, you know. That's great. But I mean, when I travel also, I don't feel no pressure that I have to get a drink.
Right.
I am not a drinker.
Right.
I had alcoholism on both sides of my family, and so I've always been extra cautious.
Avoid it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I might have had a
That's very
casual
smart.
drink here and there a little bit, but my father was always really cautious with explaining to me that daughters of alcoholics can have higher probability,
Right.
and so on. I have witnessed a lot of things with that scene that scared me at a young age, and so in some way it turned to be a blessing.
Right. You probably won't ever
Yeah.
have a problem because
So I always call it the blessing, because it's the blessing and the lesson that I learned,
Right.
you know, in the same. Because I occasional Guinness, you know, and then I'm like, you know, one Guinness a couple times a year, and I might be good. I may not have one a year.
yeah.
If I go locally, people are going to be like, hey, it's Molly. She's out.
Yeah. What are you doing? You drinking a
Yeah.
beer?
Right.
Yeah.
Let me get you a drink.
Yeah.
There's that whole, and I'm sure you get that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's like going into Walmart when you decided not to do anything with your hair and your clothes look like
Right.
crap, and you go in there and you see everybody you
That's
know.
when you see everyone.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if you're in, you know, another state going to a Walmart, you don't care.
Right.
When we go camping, we go down to Lake George and go
Yeah.
to the Walmart. I don't care at all because I'm not going to
I
see
know.
anyone I know.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah, you go out to a bar, you have a few drinks. Maybe I've had a few. No.
I know, right? You're slurring your words.
That's the first one I think I've screwed up. That's a record for me. But you have a few drinks, you get a little loose, have fun, and that's always when somebody you know walks in and sees you do something
That's true.
just a little bit off.
And
You
then
know, or say something a little bit off.
then there's the gossip behind that.
Yeah. Well,
And-
or in your head, it rolls around like, oh,
Right.
that person saw me do this. Now
Although
that's all they're talking
it's
about.
a big talk.
And
It's
they
a big
either
talk.
didn't see it or they don't care
True.
or
that's
think way
true.
worse of you anyway.
That's true. Yes, because minds have a tendency to chase rabbits in 1,000 different directions.
Right,
You
right.
know, I mean, that's for sure. But I always say that if we spread kindness like we do gossip, you know, like people do gossip, you know, what a wonderful world. I mean,
Yeah.
really, you know, then it would be as enriching as the song.
That's a great message. Just
It is.
spread as much kindness as you possibly
It is.
can.
Spread the
You're not
love.
out anything.
Spread the love.
People think it's so hard to go out there and, spread love in the world. It's not.
It's not. It's not.
It's easier than not doing it.
So,
I think.
wow. I mean, we just really talked a lot about me. But getting back to the live music, a few years ago, I went to Outlaw Fest.
Okay.
Okay. So this was the first year that Willie Nelson hosted Outlaw Fest. I'm not going to lie or fabricate, was not a huge Willie Nelson fan, but the lineup was great. Neil Young was playing. I had friends in Scranton. Again, I go to concerts out of state.
Right.
So, hey.
Scranton's not that far,
No,
though.
it's a 3 hour.
3 hours, yeah.
It's 3 hours tops. It's like
Yeah.
2.5.
The wife and I went to the Poconos for our honeymoon,
yeah.
and that area
Okay.
it's
It's
like the
beautiful.
Adirondacks.
It's beautiful.
like here.
And this is at the pavilion at Montage Mountain. So it's already like pictures, Snow Ridge, but, just, and it's a great venue. And so I went to the first one, and I'm going to give all sorts of credit to Willie Nelson, okay, because
He deserves it.
he deserves it. Well, he sounded smooth as butter, so I will say that. But he's quite a performer. I went, like I said, to see Neil Young, but they had such a lineup throughout the whole entire day. It's a whole day event, and I saw a number of great acts. Both of his sons have different bands, and Lucas Nelson is huge on the
my
rise.
God. He's so good.
Lucas Nelson, Promise of the Real.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he's so good.
I play their music at least 2-3 days a week.
It was.
He sounds like his dad,
He
but
does.
like a rough.
Well, he can
like a rough
sound exactly
version.
like his dad.
Yeah.
When he wants to.
There's a song they do together called "Just Breathe,"
Oh, I know.
and there's parts of that song I can't tell who does what
Right,
part because
because-
their voices are so similar.
And when Willie was just in the hospital, Lucas was covering his tour and his father's tours. Just his love for his father is just incredible too. But then Micah is also the Particle Kid, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but he's very talented as well. Sheryl Crow was there. There was just again, Sheryl Crow isn't somebody I wouldn't have went and got tickets for, so it was really neat to see a lot of great acts.
I heard she puts on a great show too.
And she was amazing. You know, I mean, it's really great when you go to see live performances and they sound better, or even, you're just like, wow, they sound so great live, you know? So it was a tribute he decided to do with, help me out, Merle Hager.
Okay.
Being the Outlaws.
Right.
Merle Hager had pitched the idea to him, and he was wrapped up in Farm Aid at the time. And because they told this story, this was the first, and he didn't know if he was going to do another. This was after Merle died, and he thought, I'm going to do an Outlaw Fest. Merle leaving him a boatload of money.
Yeah.
And he was feeling like this was Merle's idea and I'm going to pass this on and actually do it. And so that was the original one. I was there. And I continued to go last year to Syracuse and I saw, and it was a whole different act, different lineup. Now he has 18 this year.
Wow.
It's really grown. On that,
18 venues.
18 venues.
Okay.
And this year, I was going to go back to Scranton because that's the home of the original
Right.
Outlaw Fest. And it just so happens that my stepdaughter is having her baby shower on that day. So, it was like Outlaw Fest. No, I'm picking my stepdaughter's baby shower. So,
You're doing the adult thing.
I'm doing the mature adult thing, and I am very excited about being a grandmother again. So, so I have 2 tickets, and I am very excited to pass these tickets on to your fan club here.
Fan club.
Your fan club.
There's got to be at least 3 or 4 of them out there.
There's got to be a few for sure. And any interested parties that would like to. Van Morrison, now, if anybody looks at his history, has not toured a lot in the States.
Right.
So the chances of people seeing Van Morrison in the past are, a little more slim. So if you're a Van Morrison fan, like I am, you want to see the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard he sounds absolutely amazing live.
That, and he's getting up there in age.
And he's
too.
getting up there in age.
Yeah.
And so...
You want to see him in his somewhat prime.
Yeah, you want to see him while he's still performing.
Still can, yeah.
I had the lineup for the show, and I don't have it with me, but Lucas Nelson
It's easy
and
to
Promise
look
of
up.
the Real,
Yep.
will be there.
It
It is September 14th.
Is he?
Yes.
Sturgill Simpson.
And
okay.
he's good.
Oh my God, yeah.
And here's another message I'd just like, if I have a few more minutes.
Oh yeah.
To
Take as long as you want.
While I was at the original concert, a gentleman sitting next to me said to me, in the middle of, them doing equipment stage change, he said, "I'm going to challenge you." Now, I didn't know him, but he just said, "I'm going to challenge you. Every week, take the time to listen to 3 new artists." So I said, okay. He said, go on YouTube. Even if it's similar, if you hit similar artists to the ones that you listen to.
Oh,
take
that side
the time.
panel on
Yeah,
YouTube
because you know
is
how
the
they have
best.
that. Yeah, you know how they have that.
I've discovered so many.
Oh, I know.
So much
so
music
he said,
that
but
way.
force yourself. And I said, I'll do that because I like the idea of it, first of all. Because I just don't believe in looking at life or anything in black and white. So I like to expand any kind of knowledge of anything. So this is why I watch Jeopardy. It's not for Alex Trebek. But
I do miss that mustache, though.
yes,
I still can't get used to
He's
him.
getting older.
Yeah.
Yes. But so this old man challenges me because he sees that I know the lyrics to most. I'm someone like that. I can't remember, small details.
Important stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Like people's birthdays and stuff. But I know lyrics from most anything I heard growing up. But he challenges me, and I have challenged some friends who do it. And then sometimes they'll say, check this one out, and it's a neat little exchange. So for anyone listening and yourself, try it.
Yeah.
It's really neat. And it does expand a lot of, kind of up and coming, on the rise performers that Nathaniel Ratcliffe,
Yeah.
have you heard of him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Dead South?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dead South. Yes. I found them through, just
yeah.
kind of playing around like that.
Well, it's weird because that was my message on air yesterday. Was expand your mind, go out and listen to stuff that you wouldn't normally listen to.
Right.
Ry it out.
Try it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the worst that's going to happen?
Type of
You're like,
music.
oh, this sucks. What's next?
Yeah.
There's so much out there.
There's so much out there.
It's insane. It's just a gigantic pile of music on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's not categorized in any way at all. You have to dig through. And
You have to dig through. And I have found a lot of people that I have talked with who just have been stuck in listening to the same music for a decade or better.
Oh,
Have you met those kind of people?
Oh, I was one of those people.
Oh, okay.
In high school, everyone thinks that their music is the best, and their parents, that's how I was. But I bet from, I would say 21 to almost 30, I didn't listen to any new music. I liked what I liked, and I thought that was it.
Right.
And I used to be one of those people that said, "Oh, there's no new good music out there."
Right.
Now I hate when people say that.
I know.
There's no new good pop music out there.
Sure. I'm not listening to the radio,
Right.
the pop
They're not trying to
stations.
sell you the right thing.
Right.
But that good music does exist.
It does exist.
And it blows your mind because it's way better than
does.
you would expect.
It really is. And so that's a really great message to throw out
So we got some messages today.
We did.
Mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself. Talk to
Yes.
people. If you have a problem, there's always somebody to talk to.
Yes.
Music. Expand your mind. Listen to 3 new artists
A week.
A week.
It's 3 songs.
You'd think that that's
3
a
songs.
hard thing to do, but it's not.
It's not.
It's not at all.
Right. Yes.
And you're going to give away these tickets.
And we're going to give away these tickets.
We're going to figure out how.
Yes.
Post it. It'll
Right.
probably be posted by the time this airs.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
The logistics don't matter.
And
But,
they're great seats.
yeah,
So you can't beat it, people.
that's awesome. That's very generous of you.
I'm happy to do it.
I'm going to give you a sticker.
Wow.
In return.
And I have a drawing from Penelope.
That's right.
I know.
That's right.
Score.
It's funny. She always says, my job is to be an artist. And then some days she's like, oh, Dad, I got to go to work. Like, what do you mean? I got to go draw pictures.
It's exhausting.
Like, you can't hate work already. You're only 4.
Heavy sigh. It's
Yeah.
exhausting. Well, she whipped mine up pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'm flattered.
Molly, it's been a lot of fun.
It has. Thank you.
I think you were worried how this was going to go. What do you think?
This was great, and I'm really touched to even be on here, okay, because I'm just Molly.
And I told you, 5 minutes and you'll forget the mic is there.
Yep.
And
Yes. It's been nice to catch up, Tony.
it is, yeah. It's been so long.
It has. All right.
Thanks again.
Thank
and
you.
we'll have you back on here.
Excellent.
And you're going to give away those tickets somehow. Some
We will
way.
figure that out.
We're going to figure that out.
Thanks for listening to Tony and Other People, a podcast. Questions, comments, concerns for Tony's overall well-being? Want to be part of the show? Find us on Facebook or email us at tonyandotherpeople@gmail.com.